I developed a desire to watch grown-up movies of that time. I would go, often alone, to movies like Mel Brooks's High Anxiety and a comedy like Oh God starring George Burns. Sometime in March or April, I went to see the movie Fun with Dick and Jane. The title is a play on the children's books of the same name. They were popular preschool and early elementary school books, similar in style to Dr. Seuss's school books. The movie starred George Segal and Jane Fonda. It was a comedy about a married couple that resorted to robbing banks after losing their jobs and nearly losing their home. I believe it was remade a few years ago. So I went to a theater that was perhaps the first true multiplex cinema in town. It was a complex with 3 screens, a large auditorium with a big screen and Dolby sound, which was fairly new back then, a mid-sized one and a very small one. I'll venture to say that the media room in my house was larger than that theater was. Fun and Dick and Jane was playing in the theater that had the smaller screen. The large auditorium was playing the thriller Black Sunday, which starred Robert Shaw of Jaws fame. I was also interested in seeing that movie too, but it was rated R, and I figured I might not be able to get tickets for it. Besides, I really wanted to see Fun with Dick and Jane a lot more. I took the trip to the mall on the city bus. It probably used about 3 bus transfers to get there. I don't recall exactly what the ticket prices were. Probably were about $1.25 or $1.50 for a matinee ticket. The theater was in an indoor mall. It was a new mall and theater at that time, both having been open for no more than 6 months. Also at that time, it was one of the largest malls in the country. Incredibly, it's still open today, but just barely. I got off the bus at the main front entrance of the mall. The cinema was in the back of the mall, so I made the quarter mile or so back to where the theater was. If I remember correctly, it was on a weekday. Not sure how I got the day off from school, but in any case, I went ahead and went to the theater. Walking up to the ticket booth, I could smell the buttery popcorn. There were a few walk-up steps to the entrance of the cinema. Just up the steps, the refreshment counter was to the right. To the left was the large auditorium that was playing Black Sunday. The auditorium that was playing Fun with Dick and Jane was just past the refreshment stand. To the left past the large auditorium were a couple of movie posters for coming attractions. Usually back then, one of the first things I did when I walked into a movie theater was to look at the posters for coming attractions. For whatever reason, I didn't do it this time. Instead, I headed straight for that delicious smelling popcorn. I ordered and paid for my popcorn and soda. While I waited for my order to complete, I thought, why not take a look at the upcoming movie posters? So I turned around to look at the posters, and there it was.